You're listening to Edging the Truth.
Welcome to Edging the Truth, the podcast that takes you to the edge of the truth, but no further. Today, we are with you with episode 36 and the Bermuda Triangle. Fudge, when did you first become aware of the Bermuda Triangle in your life?
I don't know if there's an exact time. I feel like I remember a episode of Scooby-Doo or something where they did something with the Bermuda Triangle. I could be way off there, but that's like where my mind goes. Not
right.
Tons of experience with it. I feel like it's kind of like the last topic we did in Loch Ness. You'll see it throughout pop culture for quite a while. But yeah, no, I would say just like watching cartoons and seeing it on TV or something like that.
Yeah, Brian, what about you?
I was gonna say Scooby-Doo right from the jump.
Let's go.
Because I was trying to think, because even Gilligan's Island wasn't like the premise of that they were in the Bermuda Triangle. It was just like they got in a storm and they got lost.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't making that supernatural. They went that this shit is simple. But like, I was trying to think of any other things, and like besides cartoons. Venture Brothers, like to go where the new one where they go to the Bermuda Triangle and do some stuff and all that. I can't think of anything else like besides TV. TV and movies, I can't think of any other. When I took a cruise, they weren't like, we're in the Bermuda Triangle, folks.
Yeah, you don't want to alert people to that on a boat in the place where they might go missing.
Yeah. And did
well,
they
I know
say
for me,
about the Bermuda Triangle in the Pirates movies? I don't even remember that. If it was on Pirates of the Caribbean, they were talking about the Bermuda Triangle. Was that the premise of one of the movies?
Ooh, listeners, if you know the answer to that, let us know. I know for me, it was the same way I found out about Loch Ness Monster. It was that silly TV show in the 70s called In Search Of, and they did a special on the Bermuda Triangle, and it was all Leonard Nimoy again narrating. So who didn't want to hear Mr. Spock talk about the Bermuda Triangle? It is interesting to me that a lot of this, and we'll get to this later as we talk about it, but a lot of this starts in the 70s. A lot of the fervor around the Bermuda Triangle starts in the 70s, despite, a century of reports, et cetera, et cetera. And we will get into all of that. Before we do get started, we want to remind you to visit edgingthetruth.com for everything related to Edging the Truth and our sister podcast, brother podcast, cousin podcast, Two Steps from the Edge. Everything from our social media links to where you can find us in podcast directories and all that sort of stuff. Please go visit. So as we dig into this topic, and we all, prepare for these shows with a little bit varying different types of research, I found a wonderful couple of articles from Popular Mechanics among the things that I just really latched onto. And one of them had a very succinct, very clear coverage of sort of the beliefs behind the Bermuda Triangle. And if you're listening to this and you don't know what the Bermuda Triangle is and where it is, it's a region of the Atlantic, and it's sort of the triangle is made up of by Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda. And so those 3 points create this triangle where a surprising number, at least the way that it's always been presented, a surprising number of ships and planes have gone missing, and people on those ships and planes. The first main conspiracy theory behind the Bermuda Triangle and what it does, and we will be doing a little fun thumbs up and thumbs down with us here on each of these. There's a gentleman named Charles Berlitz, and Charles wrote arguably the most definitive text and the thing that really sparks the Bermuda Triangle fervor, a book in 1974. It sold 14 million copies or something crazy like that at the time. His idea was that the lost city of Atlantis was somehow responsible for why all of this stuff was happening. We could go into more about Atlantis. We haven't done an episode about Atlantis, and maybe I feel like we should at some point. But gentlemen, do we get a thumbs up or a thumbs down on Atlantis being the reason that ships are going missing?
We both gave the double. And
Wow,
Come
yeah,
on,
double thumbs
come
down.
on.
I thought that was funny because it was like, oh yeah, they have special mechanics and special things from the city that are sucking people down, and the boats and the planes can't go over them without malfunctioning. It's
Yeah.
and then I'm pretty sure in that article it was like, oh, this would all be great if the city of Atlantis was real.
If it was real, right? Which is
Uh,
debatable.
but
Uh,
but
Br-
I'm just like it's. Atlantis was like, dude, we're talking. That's a European thing. It's Greek and like Roman with the lost city of Atlantis. That's always been a European associated thing. All right, there may be a hotel named the Atlantis in the Caribbean that is a casino. It's very nice. They got a little water slide where you can go through the shark tank. It's great, but there is no real. Even if it was over there. That was not in that area. It's just
as far as you know.
this was the one where I was like, come on, you know.
well, and if you're trying to sell books, I guess this might be a good theory to put out there if you're trying to sell books. But yeah, I'm with you guys on this one. This one's gets a double thumbs down from me too. There's just no way that. Yeah, I like your argument, Brian. I like that that Atlantis is generally not believed to be in this region of the planet. So that's good enough for me, you know. Whether it exists or not, it's not even believed to be where the
Mhm.
Bermuda Triangle is. So I'm okay with that. Our next, thought is maybe a little more plausible, a little more grounded in science, and that's the concept of a rogue wave. If you've ever seen the movie The Poseidon Adventure, this is a famous rogue wave, right? It's a giant wave. Apparently, some of the research suggests up to 100 feet tall. But again, as popular mechanics is so astute to point out, that would not explain why planes go missing. Why a group of Navy bombers went missing.
Mhm.
Gentlemen, rogue waves, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I could be in on rogue waves. Yeah,
Yes.
that makes more sense because they also said they can be super hard to detect too. So it's just
Yeah.
like boom out of nowhere, you've got a
Yeah.
50 to 100-foot wave coming right at you. That could absolutely do some damage to these ships.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, like earthquakes, all the seismic stuff. I mean, like it's not like they predict tsunamis. They happen because of earthquakes and stuff, and a lot of earthquakes happen that we just like don't care about, and those create big waves. A lot of things cause big waves, and just all that stuff. And plus, like the underlying thing of this all is like this was the '70s. People traveled to Bermuda a lot for fucking vacation. That was like the vacation destination, as you always saw on TV. That's where
Yeah.
fucking Lucy and Desi went to Bermuda. It was a whole special.
James
And
Bond famously was, always based in Bermuda,
but
the
in all that
Bahamas, that part of
time,
the world.
how volatile the weather is in that part of the world. We get like what 14, 15 hurricanes a year there, many of which don't ever make it to land, but make it over that area. And
Yeah.
at the time, especially in the '70s, the weather prediction models and stuff, they didn't get no Doppler and shit. It was not as good. So I could
Yeah.
see weather taking out so much shit and weather causing rogue waves as well. It's a natural phenomenon. It does happen. Of all of our things, this is like, oh yeah, plausible, especially in a very islandist area. Islandist, is that a word? Islandius?
Islandus.
Iceland?
Oh, I like it.
Islandist? A lot of islands. 1,000
I
islands,
feel
if you will.
I feel like, and again, you bring in weather and NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association or something to that effect. The people that study the weather for the government, they have a page on their website about the Bermuda Triangle, and they frequently, their name comes up a lot when you're talking about the Bermuda Triangle in terms of what they think it could be and what they say it could be. And most of the time it is weather related, right? Most of the time we're going to assume that these things have to do with weather anomalies, if you will, things that are not common, and that sort of thing. And again, we're going to get to the numbers of ships going missing and being a central part of why this is being brought back to debunking here shortly. The next sort of theory is one that's very much down the middle to me. This is the concept of magnetic forces. The Bermuda Triangle is one of the few places, one of two apparently places on Earth where a compass will actually point to true north and not magnetic north. And so the explanation here being that compasses on ships or planes would go awry, and that's the explanation for why ships have gone missing, because they didn't go where they were supposed to, and because of that something happened to them. So can we get a thumbs up or a thumbs down on this thought, and then we'll hear what you guys have to say.
I was just gonna say, can I get a middle thumb? Look,
I
we're
got some
fucking
middle
thumbing it. It's like right in the
Wow.
butthole.
Fudge, what do you think?
Yeah, so it's like the magnetic pole or whatever here, it can change these compasses from pointing magnetic north to true north, and that has been an explanation that said that people have gone the wrong way, and that's fucked them up, and they've been gone. But also, you'd like to think, like, if you are a pilot or a sea captain or whatever, like, you would be able to account for that, or you should be able to account for that, and know that is going to happen.
You still going north?
Like, I think it's plausible depending on who's in the ship, how experienced they are, and stuff like that. But I'd like to think if you are navigating waters as treacherous as these, you should be pretty experienced in doing so.
One would think. Brian?
I mean, it's just one of those things. Eventually you get out of that area and you're like, oh, there go my compass is right again. You know, like, that's the whole point. What is the other area? Does anybody know what the other area is? They said there were only two areas on Earth where from more to true north.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a good question. I don't know. The answer.
Damn it, I was hoping one of you had the fucking answer.
I read
Sometimes
it.
we don't know shit.
Well, I think that, you know, I think you both are hit on the thing that a lot of this to me relates to is we're talking about people that it's only affecting people that are inexperienced. That this is, if there is even the slightest amount of plausibility to this, it's not affecting a veteran ship captain. It's not affecting a military pilot who's flown the same way dozens and dozens of times because they're just flying near their base, or they're flying a specific training route, or those kinds of things. I feel like this is a tough one to go fully thumbs up on, like you guys were saying, because it requires so many other things to line up for it to make sense. Whereas Rogue Waves, you know, that doesn't require anything else.
Phenomenon.
Did you find it, Fudge? Were you able to find it or no?
No.
If you know the answer to this question, we'll send you. I'll tell you what, we'll send you some free merch if you can. First person to post in the comments or call our voicemail and tell us what the other place on Earth where a compass will point true north and not magnetic north. Post it in the comments, call our voicemail. We'll tell you how to do all of that towards the end of the show. Well, as we move into our next possibility, we have yet another one that I don't think is going to have too much dispute. Aliens. Aliens are the reason to explain why all of these boats and ships are going missing. It's because the aliens are either downing them or the aliens are capturing them and taking them away. Gentlemen, who is giving this a thumbs up and who is giving this a thumbs down? Fudge has got a big smile on his face. What? Both of you?
Yeah. There's a portal from deep space directly to the Bermuda Triangle. These aliens are fucking taking these ships. Mm-hmm. That's why you can't find them. That's why all the people disappeared. Uh-huh. Shit, they're getting anal probes in the Bermuda Triangle. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I was going to lead off the show with, so guys, do you think there's a secret base underneath the Bermuda Triangle?
Well, I can't even believe Supernatural didn't make this list either. We ain't talking about ghost ships and stuff like that. That's not even on our list.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. And I think it's interesting too that the alien UFO fervor in America, which really was at an all-time high in the 1970s, also kind of coincides with, this tie into the Bermuda Triangle becoming a big thing in popular culture because of this guy's book. And so, of
Red,
course,
did you
people
have
are going
this
to put
book?
these two things together.
Do you have this
The
book?
Bermuda-
Did you have this book?
I did not have this book.
I'm
I
kind of
feel-
shocked by that, to be honest with you.
I feel like my dad might have had it, though. I actually do have one of my dad's UFO books from the probably late 60s, early 70s, a book about unidentified flying objects that was a paperback and has all kinds of reports and stuff in it and military testimony and all kinds of stuff. And it was mass market, so it was clearly something that you could get, wasn't something he ordered or whatever. He probably just bought it in a bookstore. I'm gonna have to find where that is. I hope I still have that.
It's behind you somewhere.
When I heard about this book, I was like, I'm not going to be surprised if we're in the middle of recording and Red's like, and look what I have here, and he pulls it from off screen, and he got the book. He's fucking done it. Oh my god.
Oh my god. But I think aliens, I think it's plausible. I always, in our aliens episode, I did say that, the aliens, there's a lot of under the sea. And if that's a place they land under the sea, I see, stuff be happening. But,
stuff be happening under the sea. What do you got?
There it is.
Oh, wow.
There it is,
Wow.
folks.
That is no shit.
He
this
reached
came
down
out
into the piles and pulled it out.
This came out in
holy
crap. This is from 1956.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I feel like
this
one
book
day
might be worth something. I don't know.
Red's going to turn around to the left and turn like that thing on over his left shoulder, and it's going to have like alien noises on it. He's going to be like, see, I had him on here all along.
Well, as you can see, folks, like behind him, he really can turn around and you never know what he's going to pull out.
Something's coming. This is written by the former head of Air Force Project Blue Book. I'm sure that if we were to dig into Project Blue Book and look up this guy's name, Edward,
write it down, Project Blue Book. Let's get into it.
We will very definitely find out about this guy. This is it says the only book about flying saucers based entirely on the official Air Force records. Who knew? I knew I saved that book for a reason. It was for this moment. So
wow.
So you're both
not
giving
you're
aliens
a hoarder or anything.
No.
Yeah.
Not. I'm a collector.
That's exactly what a hoarder would say.
Yeah.
Oh,
wait,
shit.
No. So are we done discussing aliens, Brian?
We're in on it. Yeah,
I think we're in on it.
Yeah.
But like, also, I just don't think I don't think that's an over. I think there could be a percentage of it, but I don't think that that's all of it.
Sure.
And why the Bermuda Triangle then?
Well,
why this place on the planet?
And I'm going to say that this is not the only place. It's just this is the place that we be right here for this discussion.
Well, and let's go back to our many discussions about aliens. If there are naturally occurring phenomena that are making ships and planes disappear, then an alien slipping in between a couple of those things and taking one away isn't so suspicious, and there's not, you know what I mean? It's a little magic by misdirection action. Well, I don't know if this one's more or less plausible. Methane bubbles. Apparently, in 2016, a group of researchers from Norway found these big craters at the bottom of the sea off the coast of Norway. So let's be clear. They did not find this in the Bermuda Triangle. And the thought is that they were caused by sudden explosions of deep deposits underwater of methane. And again, this is a new idea. This was done in 2016. But the idea being that, why couldn't it have happened in the Bermuda Triangle? Why couldn't an explosion of methane gas be possible for a shipwreck? And as it turns out, a lot of this, was tried to be dispelled by those researchers. They were like, we are not making any links, even though lots of conspiracy theory people jumped onto it. The researchers were like, no, actually, this isn't what we're talking about. So despite all that, do either of you think this might be believable? Oh, split decision.
Wow, our first split of the thing.
Decision.
This makes sense to me. It makes sense. Although it says there's been no recorded methane explosions in that area in like 15,000 years.
Yes.
But I think it's plausible. I'm not saying it happened, but I think like, okay, like I could get behind it.
Show me
and
the
if not
craters.
methane, if not methane, then what? How many other possible things could it be?
Show
Could
me
it
the
be
craters. They
volcano?
found these
Are there?
craters
Yeah.
in Norway. Show me the craters in the Bermuda Triangle. I'll get on board. But it's not like we can't look at the seafloor there. Okay, fellas? You know somebody be out there prospecting for that stuff because we mine that kind of shit. So, like...
Well, and people who go for treasure, treasure hunters and stuff, looking for shipwrecks.
See?
I feel like... Yeah.
Man, I see that. Is methane bubbles a thing? Yes. Is it such a phenomenon that it happens so much that nobody records it at all? Like, I don't think so.
I mean, it's tricky too, because if this is something that people can witness and it's such a rare event, then, freak things and freak occurrences, whether it's a rogue wave or some other kind of thing that happens out in the water, it's only seen by the people that it affects in that moment, and then they are gone. Yeah. So it's like it's no witnesses. Well,
tell me nobody was next to one when it happened. Come on, near it, like fix that shit.
I'm with both of you in this one too. I feel like Fudge. I agree with your sentiment of this. Is like, well, the mechanics of that theory seem sound. That a massive explosion, a sudden explosion of something that is gaseous underneath the water could do that. Could definitely take out a boat. I don't know how it takes out a plane. And I think if you have to use methane bubbles as an explanation for everything, then that loses a little bit of steam there. But well, I don't know that this next one is going to get a lot.
Red, was that a tie? Did we all tie? Because
that's officially a tie. No, that's for sure a tie.
Soccer now.
That's a full split. That's the only one that's really been a split decision. It's not a tie. I don't have to be.
You're supposed to break the tie, but you didn't. You're like, no, I
agree with you both. I agree with you both. I feel like this is a this. You know what I mean? I feel like the final result is a this. I don't know if we're going to get the same result with this next theory. Much like aliens, there is a theory. A pilot, this has been espoused by a pilot named Bruce Gernon, and he believes that the Bermuda Triangle could be a portal to potentially another time or another place. Mm-hmm. It is a wormhole. It is a gateway to another dimension, however you'd like to describe this. Mm-hmm. He wrote a book about it in 2017, and he's explained his experience. He talked about fog surrounding his craft and jumping 100 miles in an instant, but also saying that he's someone who doesn't believe in this stuff, in time travel and teleportation and blah, 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 much like many UFO people that encounter UFOs. So how do you gentlemen feel about this possibility? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Oh my
wow!
God. What?
Fudge is just on board. Fudge is surprising the hell out of me today.
Bruce Glug Gernon over here.
Let's not give me nicknames. Okay? Now we're just name calling. That gets us nowhere. Okay. You don't know what this man experienced, Brian. How many times have you been in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle and your craft has been surrounded by fog and suddenly you're 100 miles away from where you were just an instant ago? I don't know. But fuck, dude. Like, what? They're gonna explain why this shit's just gone without a trace. They're in another dimension. They're in another time. Bye-bye. See you later. Brucey's onto something.
Wow. You didn't just go like displaced. You went time and space. Like you went deep in there. You created.
They could be in another dimension.
Yeah, you just
they could
made
be
a
on
whole
another
universe.
planet.
You
They could be in the
created a
future.
storyline.
They could be in the past. Like, I don't know, but they're not here.
Wow, you just created NPC characters right there. You gave them a backstory. They're somewhere right now giving someone a quest because I don't know what that.
Well, Brian, you gave this a thumbs down.
Yeah.
What's your
Yeah.
Do you not believe in wormholes?
I don't believe in wormholes in the Bermuda Triangle. Come on, I feel like there's more likely to be a wormhole in my bathroom that takes my poop away than to be a wormhole in the Bermuda Triangle. Like, it's just wormholes. It's a fundamentally, I feel like a thing of space, and like this is not the United States of space.
Yeah, bring it back.
And we got no. There would have to be other wormholes, and why would it? And it's a wormhole that goes.
Why would there have to be?
It has 100-mile away wormhole that only you hit.
I don't know, but you were there. You weren't there. Brucey was.
All right. Well, Bruce teleportation Gurnan. Like I think he's off his meds. That's all I'm just, But in the end, we all trying to sell books. And fiction, and nonfiction. You can put stuff whatever section you want now. So
that was a big thing that a lot of the skeptics of this, not just that specific theory, but the Bermuda Triangle as a whole, have pointed to. It's like, just think about how much money they can make off of the lore, whether it's TV shows, books, just the entertainment value, and all that stuff is insane, and more incentive for people to keep pushing these types of theories and stories.
Yeah, because it's like
there's a proven market.
It's a moneymaker, because that there were in the 70s there was some writer sitting on the beach sunning in Bermuda, which was our big destination. Bermuda, Cuba, that whole thing. Those were the destinations of the 70s. And they're like, man, we should. What's that? The local lore about this triangle thing? I could sell that for 5 episodes. Like it's. Yeah. It's just then once it gets into Hollywood, it's a thing. I mean, didn't the Hardy Boys go to the Bermuda Triangle? Was it Nancy Drew?
The Hardy Boys.
Shit? Like,
didn't
everybody go to this? I mean, Scooby Doo went there multiple times. Why would you keep going back? Why would you? The Harlem Globetrotters, I believe, were in the Bermuda Triangle. Even
the Bermuda Triangle couldn't claim Scooby Doo.
They could not claim the Harlem Globetrotters either. I mean, they were just too good. Curly Jefferson? Was it Curly?
It was Curly something.
I can't remember the Harlem Globetrotters name.
I always remember
Globetrotters.
Meadowlark Lemon. That's the one I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got no. I apologize to the Harlem Globetrotters organization for not knowing more of your players after I watched them for so many years on Scooby Doo.
Well, the team that plays the Harlem Globetrotters is called the Washington Generals, and my brother loved the concept of the Washington Generals because they're a permanent loser. Like, their record is 0-8,000 or something.
No, I think they won.
They finally.
Yes.
Yeah,
they have
won
one
2 or 3 times. Yeah.
Yes, no, it's true. Well, I always envisioned this theory sort of looking like a Time Bandits map, right? Like, there's these points all over the globe that you can zip in and out of. I think that would be fascinating if it were true, and I love the idea of it. But we haven't.
Are you breaking the tie, right? Are you breaking the tie? Is your thumb up or thumbs down? Stick your thumb in it.
I want to go this way so bad. I think I'm gonna have to go this way.
Oh my God!
Suck it, Brian.
You're both insane.
I don't, and I will preface this, and I was going to save this for later, but I will preface this by saying my firm belief is that if you were to take the total list of all the ships and planes lost in the Bermuda Triangle, okay, that none of these is the answer for all of them, and so I think that these natural weather ones and things like that, the rogue waves, the next one we're going to talk about, I feel like those are really plausible. I do feel like aliens in wormholes while maybe not plausible, I want to believe in. And I think that if even if it only did one of the dozens and dozens and dozens, then that's all it takes. Just takes one.
And
They
we're
don't have
talking
to all be
supernatural.
taken by aliens.
We're talking
One
supernatural. You guys are
that
talking
is
about
kind of
Bruce
well,
falling asleep behind the wheel, Gurnon, who woke up 100 miles later and was like, "Oh shit, my plane transported 100 miles." No, you
I'll tell you
fell
one
asleep
thing.
and it was on autopilot. All right.
I'll tell you
Jesus
one thing. I
Christ.
want to read this guy's book. There's a small part of me that wished I had enough time to read this book before this show, because his descriptions are interesting. They seem unique to things of this ilk. So
Leave
I'm
the elk out of
curious.
this.
I mean, yeah, you knew I had to do it. Whereas this next topic, I think, is a little more grounded. It's also the one that's been mostly espoused by both the Coast Guard and NOAA, and that's the idea of water spouts. Uh, Water spouts are, as described in this article, a spinning columns of moist air that form over warm water. So think of it as like a tornado over the water that then gets enough, enough mass and substance to cause damage. Because if it's just air, well, then it's not doing anything. It's not a hurricane. This is it's a water spout, not an air spout, right? So this is an active place for severe weather. This region
water.
that's known, and it is warm water. We know that Bermuda and Florida and Puerto Rico are in very warm places. It's a selling point. So this theory is that most likely things like water spouts and other sort of extreme weather phenomenon, coupled with inexperienced navigators, whether that's in a boat or a plane, are the reason behind these things. So let's take that in two pieces. Water spouts as a thing that's causing this. Up or down? Thumbs up. Thumbs down.
I'm giving you 2 thumbs up and some finger guns.
Brian's like, this is the one, baby. All right, Brian, why don't you start us off on this one?
Bro, we have a whole area of the country called Tornado Alley. You know what I'm saying? Where tornadoes be happening all the time. We know they happen. We know they're there. Like so why isn't that same phenomena in this place that has hurricane, which is a giant cyclonic event? Okay, like they have all these things there,
and those houses went missing.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. If that thing comes down on you, near you, around you, you're screwed. Most experienced navigator can still be because they just appear like that. I mean, that's why they have tornado warnings, and it's just like, oh, you got 5 minutes until you're screwed. Yeah. And it's the same with the same thing happens on the ocean. That's why I'm like, and this goes with the hurricane thing I said earlier. And like I said, even these kind of phenomena can cause rogue waves and stuff. I mean, it's all of the above, like every natural phenomenon in this area, especially with the land masses, all that stuff, because this is where hurricanes get stronger, not weaker, Mm-hmm. So plausible, yes. But
more than plausible, because you gave it the double finger guns.
It's not a supernatural phenomenon. All right. It's not, we're not going to space. We're not traveling through time. It's just Mother Nature. And I've been on the cruise ships and on boats and stuff, and I've seen, the water spout, little dust devils on the water, little things whip up, I've seen it just sitting at the beach.
Oh yeah.
So it's, it's a thing.
It's a thing. Fudgy, what do you think? Water spouts for sure?
Yeah, I'm in on this. I think it's similar to the rogue waves. It's something that you can't really predict or control, and if it gets enough fucking water and mass, like you said, going and spinning, it can do a lot of damage. Again, just like the waves. I think Brian really laid it out here perfectly for us. I don't know if I have much more to add besides, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, finger guns wins.
Finger guns wins. Well, I think that this brings us to a really nice point of saying that, I think we're all kind of in agreement. All three of us are in agreement that these natural causes seem the most likely. Fudge and I, we just like the fun ones too.
We're just more fun than Brian.
Yeah, Brian's just a party crasher.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the main reason that we're actually talking about the Bermuda Triangle today, not just to cross off another topic of grand topics off our list, but because it's back in the news again. And it's back in the news again because of this Australian scientist named Carl Kruszelnicki. I have no idea how to say this guy. Yeah. And, with the grand headlines that you see around this article, the answer and his explanation is relatively simple. And it's that when you look at the math, when you look at other places on the planet where planes and boats go missing, the statistics say that if this is average, this is normal, this is not surprising, this is the way it is when you travel by boat and plane over the ocean.
It's not even in the top 10 most dangerous places in the world.
Yeah.
When you look at ocean sites, which is crazy to me for how publicized it is and how much you hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, Red? It's like over 50 ships and over 20 planes have disappeared in the area.
Mm-hmm. And there's some famous stories, right? There was the famous story with a passenger plane with 31 passengers that went missing. There's the very famous naval bombers or group of fighter planes.
Yeah, Flight 19.
Yes, and so those tentpole stories really become the foundation for a lot of this stuff.
Well, then, so there was the Flight 19, which was the United States Air Force military training, where basically they were going out from Florida. I think it was like to the Bahamas and just coming right back. And they never came back. They disappeared. There was allegedly a recording of one of the pilots saying, the water is green, it's not white. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. But anyway, they didn't come back. There was no trace of them. One of the ships with 13 passengers on it that got sent out to look for them disappeared too, without a trace. So like this has happened multiple times. There was the USS Cyclops, was it?
Yeah.
It was the biggest Navy casualty not involved in
a war,
like battle, ever. It was like over 300 people on the crew of this USS Cyclops going through the Bermuda Triangle. Disappeared without a trace, never found any remnants, never found any bodies. So that's it. And there was it was like in back-to-back years, almost like a year to the day. It was like January 20th, 1944, and then January 17th, 1945, where there was two commercial airliners that were the exact same type of plane disappeared into Bermuda. It was stated that those planes weren't that well suited to be flying in that area as well. So that definitely could have something to do with it. But it's compelling how many of these cases you have where they are just fucking gone. You have no idea, they're with no trace or anything.
Well, I mean, we did an entire episode about a plane that disappeared with no trace, apparently, right? This is not an uncommon story. And yet I think what is most fascinating to me about my research about the Bermuda Triangle was that in so many ways, this mimics the many other conspiracy theories that we cover, in that this almost entirely comes from a single point of origin. That in the 60s, this gentleman writes an article in like a pulp magazine that sort of collects all of this timeline. And that's really the first time it's all sort of put together as a thing. But then this guy, Charles Berlitz, writes this book about the Bermuda Triangle. And this was 1974, I believe. And then it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I think there's at least one movie called The Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you go to IMDb and do a search for, movies set in the Bermuda Triangle, you'll get a long list. I always am suspect now when I find that out. when I find that a conspiracy theory of any kind is really based on one person's thing that just keeps getting propagated by more and more people. You guys both mentioned that your first experience with the Bermuda Triangle was Scooby-Doo. I think that encapsulates how seriously we should take this topic.
Oh, and I mean, Scrooge McDuck went to the Bermuda Triangle. I mean, the Disney people got a hold of it. I believe, that was like Donald Duck went to the Bermuda Triangle. I think everybody went to the Bermuda Triangle, like in some sort of cartoon aspect or another. Hell, I think Rick and Morty went to the Bermuda Triangle. Okay,
I would have loved to have seen Indiana Jones tackle the Bermuda Triangle or something like that.
It's a new movie coming out. We don't know the vibes. We could be dialing our destiny in the Bermuda Triangle. You guys don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's put it this way, Fudgy. You have young children. I love putting this to you in this when it comes to these things.
That was creepy as
What
fuck.
are you gonna tell your kids about the Bermuda Triangle if they ever ask you about it?
That there are aliens there, and it's a fucking wormhole. Obviously,
It's an alien wormhole. Twofer.
yeah, let's scare the shit out of these little fuckers. All right.
Honestly, that's not a bad way to go. Get them scared early.
Yeah.
Go the other way.
I am. By the way, I am all for having a little 2-minute pre-taped moment of Carson's opinions about some of these things. Well, as we get to the end here, Fudge, do you want to tell people how they can find us?
Oh, I would love to tell the people how they can find us, because you can find us everywhere.
Yeah.
Red, especially at www.edgingthetruth.com. It's got links to all of our episodes, all of our social media. It's got links to our merch. That's the best way for you to support the show as well. We've got t-shirts, hats, mouse pads. We've got a conspiracy journal, bunch of cool items in the store, edgingthetruth.com. And you will see it up there at the top, a link to go look at our awesome store. Find us everywhere on social media at Edging the Truth, or on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Like us on YouTube, follow us on YouTube, subscribe, comment on this video. Tell us what you think about the Bermuda Triangle. Tell us what you think about these different conspiracy theories that we went over for it. Are you in? Are you out? What do you want to hear from us next? Call the voicemail line. That is 917-979-6071. Tell us about an experience you may have had with the Bermuda Triangle, an experience you may have had with anything else. We'd love to hear. We'd love to hear it. Whether it's a theory, a comment on the show, whatever you want to tell us, we are all ears. And you don't have to talk to any of us. It'll go straight to the voicemail, and you have a chance for that to be played on the show. We thank you guys, as always, for all the support. We're looking forward to keeping it going. This is the year of the truth, year of Edging the Truth, and 2 steps from the edge. Look out for Red at the end of this month at MomoCon in Atlanta. He will be there for Zicky Dice's, what is it called
Outlandish
again?
Paradise 3. Outlandish Paradise 3. We made it to a trilogy. We're part of a trilogy.
We made it to the third one. We were a part of the Outlandish Paradise 2 last year, and we were thankful to be a part of that. So when he asked us to jump in again, we jumped at the chance.
Yeah.
And Red is going to be there in person. We're going to have our own table. We're going to have special stuff to give away. Awesome cards that Red made, and some other cool Edging the Truth stuff. So if you are going to be in Atlanta for MomoCon, please stop by the Edging the Truth booth. Check out Outlandish Paradise 3. It's going to be an awesome wrestling show there. Other than that, man, I don't think I have anything else. Red, Brian, anything?
Do we have a account for today, Mr. Fudgerino? Account on the, you know what I'm saying?
Oh shit, yeah, dude, it was bullshit.
I was gonna say, Brian, you were a good boy today.
Good for you, Brian. You're getting better. It was like 9 last time we did this, and he's down to 1. That is a hell of an improvement, my friend.
Because this time everybody knew what I was saying.
Thank you for listening. That's been Edging
get the fuck
the
out of
Truth.
here.
Wormholes.
Believe in Brucey.
Visit edgingthetruth.com for more information and links to all our social media and podcast directories.